Hello everybody, Marcos Villegas being joined with Dominic Breazeale. We are here in Norwalk at the Legends Boxing Club, and Dominic, we're going to talk a little bit of your division, the heavyweight division. First off, there's news out there about the status of the #1 contendership. I know it was ordered Dylan White and Luis Ortiz to be for the #1 spot. When I spoke to you last, you were considered the mandatory for the WBC title. So what's going on with that whole situation, and what do you make of it?
So this past November, I fought Molina, and it was for the WBC mandatory. I am still the WBC mandatory. Dylan White is the #1 guy on the WBC charts because of the fact that he has the WBC silver belt. Ortiz, of course, as we know, just fought Wilder and lost. And then they've ordered them to fight. Why, I have no understanding of that, but I'm #2 on the WBC charts, but I am the WBC manager because I fought for the WBC mandatory spot. WBC is honored it, and I am waiting for my phone call to happen to fight Deontay Wilder.
When do you expect that to happen? Because I know Deontay and Joshua are really trying to make that fight happen. The way I see it, it might be both of them have a fight and then they go into that fight, but that's where you could potentially come in and derail those plans as well. But where do you see it happening at?
You know, I see my fight happening sooner than the Joshua Wilder fight. I think Wilder's going to have to go through me to get a fight like Joshua. Joshua's not in a big rush to get in a fight with Wilder. Wilder's doing a ton of publicity and trying to get out there and advertise it, but I don't think it's going to work.
Why not? It seems like it's gonna happen.
It's very charismatic. It's probably the right approach to do. But the last time you've seen a WBC champ in any weight class go down and chase somebody else's win, never. You're the heavyweight champion of the world. You shouldn't be chasing somebody else for a fight. You shouldn't be trying to make a fight out of something else. He understands that Joshua is the king to the throne right now in the heavyweight division. Give him his respect. He's done what he's done. He's created a great persona, and he's a charismatic guy that's got majority of the belts. He'll fight you when he wants to fight you. In the time being, focus on me because I'm coming to derail the plan.
So you feel he doesn't need to do that?
No, I don't.
Because many think that he does need to do that because he should be a lot bigger of a name, and doing something like that is going to finally give him attention and pressure for the fight to happen.
Right. No, I see what you're saying as far as like what he should be or should not be doing. But it's unorthodox for the WBC heavyweight champion to be chasing somebody else for a fight. That's where I was trying to go with it.
It's still seen as like the most prestigious of the belts, the WBC, the green belt.
Yeah, it's the one that everybody's chasing, man. I don't care whether it's in the boxing the world or if you see it on the gridiron in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers goes and scores touchdowns and he does this logo. We all know he's talking about the WBC championship. Yeah.
You know, when you see everything that's happening and the offer that he made, is it something where you look at it and be like, take the fight right away, just take the fight? That's guaranteed money. Like, take the fight, or do you look at it like, you know what, a lot more money could be generated in that fight, like pump the brakes real quick?
It could be. It's on both sides of it. On Wilder's situation, I think it's in his character to do a lot more talking than the traditional heavyweight or heavyweight contender. In Joshua's situation, he understands what he has. He's building a legacy. He's done a phenomenal job beating a guy like Klitschko. He just, he's got 3 belts now. He's one of those guys that is a hometown hero per se. When he fights at home, he draws a hell of an attraction. He fills up soccer arenas. There's no reason for him to come across the pond and do something that's unorthodox for him. And I think that's one of the things that's kind of bugging Wilder. He understands that he's going to have to go over there and fight him, which probably wouldn't be a downfall, but I think that fight doesn't happen before my fight, and Wilder does.
Is it a hard thing to travel over there and fight? Like, what are the things that you and your experience going over there that you really had to watch out for?
My biggest thing as a heavyweight was definitely going to be the food. There's a normal food that I know I can get here or understand that it's going to be a basic type of a rice and chicken, protein type of a meal. Whereas over there, I kind of had to search for it. It's almost like eating at a restaurant every night. It's kind of a hard thing to do. Of course, the delay of time, the change in time, the environment, it being a little bit colder, a little bit wetter. Southern California kid. So it's one of those things you kind of have to adapt to, but it's also in the profession. Sometimes I fight on the East Coast, and sometimes that bugs me a little bit. Sometimes I fight in Nevada, fighting in the desert and the elevation kind of bugs me, but the best overcome it.
How long does it take for a fighter to be acclimated to the time difference?
I think it's to each its own, man. It's going to be different for every individual. It usually takes me 2 or 3 days, being my feet on the soil or wherever I'm going to be fighting at, and then I'm pretty acclimated to things.
In terms of the offer, do you think you should take it? Like right away?
Joshua?
Yeah.
Yeah, logically thinking, it's a boatload of money, $50 million in the bank.
What would you do with $50 million, man? Damn.
Yeah, I can't even think. I can't even fathom that. But yeah, that's one of those situations like that happens to a guy like myself. Of course, I'm picking up the phone and I'm going to scramble and find somebody to say yes, get the paper. But in Josh's situation, he's a big cash crop out there, and he's doing the right thing. And of course, he's got some great people behind him with Eddie Hearn, and they're going to advise him in the right way.
So he had that fight with Parker, and I felt that Parker made a good account of himself, showed a lot of good movement and defense, but he just didn't do enough to win the fight. How did you see the fight, and do you see anything there based on when you fought Joshua that's different, or new strengths or new weaknesses at all?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot more of an action-packed fight. I'm not going to lie. After the third or fourth round, I was distracted with doing other things because of the fact that I was so bored of what was going on. It seemed very methodical. Everybody can call it tactical. I don't see it that way at all. I've been in the ring with a guy like Joshua. I've seen a ton of Joshua Parker fights. Both of them are action-packed fighters. Neither one of them ever pressed the issue. Neither one of them tried to take a gamble and throw a big shot. A guy like Joshua, I'm a little upset with. I thought he was going to knock out Parker. He's a big, strong, structured guy, and he can box. It's almost like he did just enough to get the win on the cards, or maybe he was just trying to get the rounds under his belt. But it was a little upsetting to see that fight go the distance. Never as a fight fan, the fight fan in me and the professional athlete in me, do you ever want to see heavyweights go toe-to-toe for 12 rounds? That means there wasn't enough action in the second round, there wasn't enough action in the 5th, 6th, 7th, and so forth.
Does it change your mind then in regards to the potential matchup between Wilder and Joshua?
No, it doesn't change my mind. I just think Joshua went in there with a mindset on maybe throwing a certain combination. It didn't work for him. It didn't adjust well. Do I see the fight between Joshua and Wilder going the distance? Definitely not. There's way too much at stake for them to hear a boo in the crowd or even give a thought of that they weren't putting out enough action or whatever it may be. But at the same time, watching Wilder's fights, I've seen some flaws, and watching Joshua fights, I've seen some flaws. Vice versa, I'm sure they see some things in me. I just have noticed some of the same tendencies fight after fight again.
So, from what you're saying and what you're hoping, you're going to fight Deontay Wilder. You should, based on what they've told you. How do you break that matchup between you and him based on what he showed in the Luis Ortiz fight?
I'm going to do exactly what Luis Ortiz did, plus some. I think he didn't press the issue enough where he had pressure going in. The inside fight game was there. The boxing lesson was there as well. We all know Wilder's a big, crazy, wild, theatrical, circus act when he gets a guy hurt. You got to stay composed, man. It's hard to believe a guy with 40 professional fights and the WBC heavyweight championship doesn't have fundamental skills that he can come back to when he finally gets a guy hurt and get him out of there with class and skill and just be neat about it, I guess. But I think the fight between me and Wilder is going to be, there's going to be a lot more of the mental side of it, because we have some stuff on the outside of boxing that we need to square off in the ring about.
And you've mentioned that to us and told us the story about what happened when you guys were both on the card. In terms of that fight, were you surprised that Ortiz didn't push to finish him off? It was weird, because it seemed that Wilder was there for the taking, and he didn't really press it, and it had me thinking okay, is he gassing out? Is it because of his age? Well, I don't know. I still can't understand what exactly happened there.
It's probably one of those situations you just don't notice it. From the outside looking in, you always see a lot more things than the fighter does on the inside. I'm sure now that he's gone back and looked at the film and seen it, he's like, man, I didn't realize I had him hurt that bad. So it's probably that simple. I don't want to really overthink it, because I've been in situations where I come back to the corner of my trainer's like, man, you had hurt. Why didn't you get him out of there? And then at that point, of course, the next following round, I go out there and I get the guy out of there. But there is heat of the moment situations that you always miss, for sure.
This is what I want to know. How much does a heavyweight fighter eat? How many calories do you guys consume in a day?
It varies. It can go anywhere from 2,000 calories.
There's no way you eat 2,000 calories, bro. You weigh 265, dog. You burn that thing out in an hour.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But outside of camp, little things. In camp, I'm usually consuming anywhere from 5,500 calories to 7,500 calories.
Jeez.
And that consists of, your chickens, your proteins, the red meats, the grains and carbs, of course, protein shakes and supplements, things like that. I don't think I can do that outside of camp. But inside of camp, yeah, 7,500 calories are probably the max.
That's 3 burrito bowls from Chipotle and then some and extra chicken. I think so, man.
Man, well, then in that case, I might be over 7,500 calories.
You're a big dude compared to me. If I were to eat that, I'd probably weigh your size as well. But that's the thing about heavyweights, man. You guys don't have to worry about really cutting weight like the other weight divisions. I think that's such like a stress relief for you guys.
Oh, I'm sure going in, it's not the on the mindset when you're going through a 10, 15-week camp. We do definitely try to get into a fight weight, fight shape. We all know, like for instance, anywhere between 248 and 252 for myself is very reasonable to be in a fight situation. Do I stress out about it because I'm 255 the day of the fight? No, of course not. And 3 pounds is not going to make a difference in my division. It might add a little bit more to my punch, but it's not going to make a difference like it would like a welterweight or a middleweight or something like that.
All right, Dominic, I know we got to go ahead and get to the other people here at the gym. So the mandatory, you think you'll hear about the news of when you're going to fight Deontay around when, you feel?
Right, I'm waiting for the phone to ring now. Every time the phone rings, I'm glinching like that, going to get it. But
who's the one that calls you? Is it Mauricio?
No, Al him is my advisor, so
you get a call from Al. Al was like, "Hey,
yeah."
How is that like when you get a call from Al?
Great, Al's a great guy, man. He's one of those individuals who it'll take the time of the day to ask you how things are going, how the family's doing, things like that. So anytime I get a chance to talk to him, I like to pick his brain. Very highly educated individual. Anytime you can learn from somebody like that, it's pretty phenomenal.
Can you call Al and tell him I said hi?
I will. Next time I talk to him, I'll let him know you said hi.
All right. Dominic, man, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Great chatting with him. Dominic Breazeale, mandatory, maybe a fight in the future with Deontay Wilder. He's certainly banking on it and wanting that fight to happen. For Fight Up TV, I'm Marcos Villegas here at the Legends Boxing Club in Norwalk, California.